Today we're in a home shop. Today we've got Richard. Richard, thank you so much for meeting up with me, inviting me out here. This is amazing. You've got a lot of projects here.
Last one, that's a TR3 57, very early model with the narrow mount. This is my TR250. That is a 1-year production. It was only built in '68. This is actually identical this in body. This is a TR5 chassis that I'm putting together. Then I have my TR6, it's a 74 that we built and restored.
So are these all personal owned, or are these clients' cars?
Only the black one is a client's car.
Well, okay, so you own these three.
All the others will be mine.
And so is this the type of work you did when you were wrenching?
You know, I was in the RV industry for about 20 years, on and off, and then kind of graduated up into woodworking, which I'd always done since I was a kid. And so I ran a cabinet shop for 20, 30 years.
Whoa.
Doing that kind of work, and then retired, and I'm right back to doing my wrenching and working on my cars.
This lift looks really cool too. Look, like this is something I've never seen before.
Is the handiest thing. These cars, as you notice, are low. So the lift, I can pick them up, put them up higher to where I can work.
So I'm guessing you have a tool set that you use to work with these trials?
Yeah, and it keeps getting bigger. It doesn't get smaller. That would be this little jewel over here.
I love this.
You know, as it goes, these cars are all standard thread. Okay. But we have several bolts in them that are Whitworth, which was basically English only. And now with all of our new parts, everything's coming out, it's metric. So we're dealing with metric. So it's one of those things, I have to have all the wrenches. You got to have the metrics, you got to have the Whitworth, which is what these are.
You know, I've never seen Whitworth wrenches before.
They're just slightly different size. For instance, that is considered a 15/16,
I'll go on this side.
which is just under, by a little, not too much, a 5/8. MG, no, it's like I've got one out here. It's an MG TD. They are all Whitworth. And so you have to have the Whitworth wrenches to even touch those. But it's just a different wrenching. It's just slightly different. They're similar to a metric, but not exact. In fact, I was in conversation with a guy on shocks the other day saying he couldn't find a wrench to fit the top cap bolt. And he says, I've tried metric, I've tried US, I've tried everything. I said, did you try Whitworth? I use them myself, the Whitworth set, in order to service my shocks. It's like many of these like that. I'm still working on what it fits, but I believe I know, I'm not sure. This wrench is simply for the transmission nut on the bottom of the overdrives. This one as well is the same scenario. It's either a nut for the hubs on a lot of cars when you use wire wheels, and then it also fits the transmission nuts, come to find out. I buy a lot of vintage tools, and when I see them, such as, let me think here, when I see them I grab them. This piece right here, that's a hub puller for the rear hub on these cars in order to put it on and wrench it from here to pop the hub apart, because other than that you bend the hubs. Most conventional presses will not do the job. And this is a Churchill, which was one of the early makers of the tools, which is no longer around now. It's long gone.
How does that work?
Well, basically you bolt it to the hub. Like I'll do it in the front here, being at the rear I can't get to. Goes on to the nuts. Then you bolt it tight, and then this bolt, you run down, and it pops the hub right off on the rears. Fronts don't have to go through that much work.
Okay.
One of many things I find and collect, and because you never know when you're going to need it. You know, you got to have your electrics, and I love this section because I can put all these lights that are all over the boxes charging. I can just pop them in here and charge and bring them up, and then they're ready to go, and I can find them.
Yeah.
Because how often do you look and you can't find the flashlight?
Do you have a go-to flashlight that you reach for?
You know, all of them work good. These are just fantastic that I've come across and been using, but I put these under the trunk and the boot lid of all of my cars. It's just a quick, easy light for when you need light. And we never know on the cars. I've just been charging some of the others and such, but then, of course, you know, you got to have your Makita impact wrenches, which is insane, the power these have. This one I can set on the second level, and it puts the wheel hubs at almost 90 pounds, that low. This big one, I can almost break the lug nuts on my motorhome, and it'll almost break them. It's unbelievable the power it has. All of the different pullers that I've ended up with over the years, some of these date back, like this one, for instance, this one. My father used them in the 50s, and a lot of these go back that far. This is an old flywheel turning tool I've had to fix a few times, but that right there alone, that was my dad's, and he was a mechanic in the 50s in the used car industry. And then everything else that we can make and do. I ended up making my own spring compressors, things like that. That fork there was out of the early 50s, 60s.
You say your dad used to wrench?
He was a used car mechanic for many, many years before he went to work for the Army Depot in Twilla. And did the same thing there forever. And this one's just a mix match. You've always got those drawers.
What are these?
Those are a mystery.
Oh, okay.
Snap-on had them on his truck, and he says, I don't know what they're for. I says, well, I know what I'm going to use them for. Putting seals in hubs.
Okay.
They're perfect sizes, and there's different sizes, so you can put it over the seal and drive that thing in just perfect. I've adapted a couple of them for driving seals and things out at times, or other things. They're numbered. Nobody's ever been able to tell me exactly what they are, because they're numbered 1 through 4.
Maybe somebody watching, maybe they'll know.
Let me get over here. And this one I'm still working on some of the goodies for it. Everybody says, what's a PVC pipe for? You'd be surprised. Most of the time you can take that, depending on the car, drop it over and drive your cap in without crushing your cap. That one, the other pieces, the same thing. The 1 1/4, I believe, are the ones that fit this car. You got to drive something out. You don't want to damage it, such as those hub caps and such. Oh, large size metric sockets. I ended up buying a set just to take something off. I think it was my razor. Then we get, as this one goes, this is all of my different metal tools for whatever you want to do with metal. I can just about do it. It'll cut, do, whichever, and different things like, we don't have any more but phone connectors, that whole pair of crimpers, whatnot. Just cutting tools,
and
riveters.
Is this for like body work and stuff?
All of those are for riveting, actually.
Oh, riveting, okay.
Buck rivets. This is so that you can kind of get up in an area to where you can't for buck riveting. You can use them for body tools, the same scenario. But most of these are for riveting and doing buck rivets.
What are these?
Well, you get different ones. Like this one will shrink metal, or it'll cut out a cut to where the metal will shrink down, mainly for heating and air conditioning work.
Okay.
Same scenario with this one, does about the same thing. That's a nibbler type there that does about the same thing. This one you used to use on, you take a piece of aluminum molding and you want to fold it to a 45, you pop it in there, cut it, and you can fold it into a perfect 45.
Whoa! That's cool.
Without cutting the back edge.
Yeah.
Like on a piece of angle.
So it kind of just folds it over. I see.
It folds it right around. These are shrinking tools which you'll use with, you know, heating and air conditioning around a round duct for shrinking the metal. Or I've used them many times on my sheet metal on my cars because it's got to shrink it down. You can't. Or fabricating, different things I've done. I made a roof for my razor out of metal, and that's what I ended up doing there. I used that to shrink the metal.
Gotcha.
Because I didn't have a big full-size shrinker. Then you get the little socket drawer, which I wish we could just have standards, but no, we got to have metrics now too.
Like, are these just all different brands?
It's everything from Snap-on to Craftsman, mainly Craftsman and Snap-on.
Nice.
But then there's a few odd makes in it because I have to buy these from Napa in order to do lug nuts and things on my motorhome. In fact, I think that's the 2 1/8 that it takes on my motorhome.
And this socket organizer, who makes that? Oh, it says Eastwood.
That one's Eastwood. And that one's pretty good. I kind of like it pretty good. This is another good one. The problem is with the Eastwood, you can't change the rails. They're set in their sizes. I tried. You can't move one to the other. Like, I wanted to put all of my 1/2-inch drives at one side, then my 3/8, then my 1/4. Yeah, I didn't like that idea.
And I see you have several ratchets here. Do you have like a go-to ratchet that you reach for?
It's over there. This is the go-to ratchet.
Oh, okay.
If you're not going for that one, then you got the wrong tool. I have broke my wrist many years ago in the 70s, and so ratcheting doesn't work good for me.
Oh, okay.
And these are just fantastic.
That's awesome.
I've got 2 of them. I carry one in my motorhome, plus I throw one in the trunk of the car when we're out on the road traveling on different places. So it just ends up, that's a good tool, and they're strong. It's surprising how stout they are, and if it won't quite break it, you can break the bolt with it generally without going to a breaker bar.
And I'm seeing some stuff I'm not really familiar with. Like, what is this?
Oh man, I can come up with some things. Well, that's just a ratcheting piece. Where if you're using, say, a breaker bar.
Oh, okay.
Again, 50s. That was my dad's out of the 50s.
What are like these?
Yeah, that's really specialty stuff. Again, you're getting back into the 50s.
Okay.
My dad used to use these. I don't know what on. You can use a wrench on them, on a socket, so you can 90 degrees, basically. Or you can throw a socket behind it. Back in the 50s and whatnot, early cars, my dad had a lot of different things like those. A lot of your old 50s and 60s, 70s cars had a lot of bolts that had a slotted head. That's a socket for a slotted head screw rather than a screwdriver. And then, of course, you got to have a torque wrench in every toolbox, and I have 2. That's just simply my Snap-on 90 series. Now they're digital. And I had a guy told me that the other day. He said, "That's not the newest. It's not digital yet." And I'm going, "Yeah, I'm still analog, 100%." But different things like that. Oh, this is a cute tool I picked up. I was trying to do working on a Porsche, trying to put a starter in a Porsche. You have to go behind the air shield, down in and hold a wrench or get to it, or come up from underneath, pop a socket on it, and then turn it from down here.
Oh, I love that.
With your ratchet. So it gives you that 90 degree. It's kind of not the most expensive, but it's a handy thing when you're in a predicament and you cannot get to it.
That's amazing to know, because I've seen those in other boxes, but nobody has a use for them. So it's cool to hear that you've actually used it.
I've used them, like I said, that Porsche is a monster to get to those, but I found several places I just can't get down in, turn a ratchet, but I can get this in with a socket, put it on and turn it from up higher. Complicated. Carburation, on different carburetors, you have a specific jet and whatnot, and these are jet tools for getting the jets out of them. Weber, a lot of marine is where I used them more for. Same here, it's got a pin that goes into a 2-point pin on the jets to get them out. OMC, Johnson, Evinrude, etc. for taking the jets out of the carburetors. You don't get the jets out unless you got that right tool. This one is kind of an oval. Again, those those both were at my dad's when he was doing carburetor work out of the 50s and 60s. Of course, we got to have every screwdriver and every brand in the world to do most everything, but I have got most of those. Specialized windshield tools for putting the old school windshields in, to put the rubber and or moldings in. The hook tool's the same, but they work for a lot of different things.
Do you like the Cornwell versus Snap-on, or does?
Well, put it this way: the Snap-on cost me some crazy money, and I can't seem to keep from losing the center one. The Cornwell was a gift from my son for Christmas one year.
Okay.
So my favorite's always the one I don't pay for.
That's a good way to think of that.
That's how that works. And every toolbox has got to have a set of picks in it. I mean, you never know when you've got something you got to pick out of a corner area, a gasket.
So is this the box that you used to wrench out of when you worked as an RV tech?
No, I had my one in the back. I had a 54-inch that I used, and I just had an occasion, and a little gentleman decided he wanted to trade me for a razor, and I went, I'm in. I can always use more space. It's nice that they're deep enough and they have the space that I need. My old one, well, it had a drawer like this, and I always have a portable setup for doing wiring work when I was doing cars and RVs, where I just walk over, set it down. It has wiring terminals, everything in the bottom, and almost anything I needed there to do a project and such. But then, we got to have the mix matched.
Whoa,
I don't know how you can make pliers neat and organized other than a box, but I have got so many different varieties and types. I mean, if you know what Colecos are for sheet metal work, that's a pair of Coleco pliers. That pair was actually just given to me by a friend of mine, but I have got like 3 sets of them. Between that pair of pliers and that's the go-tos. Those are the best things there is.
Yeah.
They just really do everything.
Are these Knippet? They are. Wow, those are old ones.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, it's not really that old. I bought this, I'd say late 90s.
Okay. Well, that's
Late 90s. It's
like
just, it's such a handy one. And it doesn't slip like the old school channel locks like this. For whatever reason, that cam, it's just fantastic. And they got a good grip to them. And then these, I had the Snap-on guy taught me into those. They are just fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, a pointed nose pliers with a good grip all the way down is a rarity. And they're handy.
Sorry, what was in the bottom drawer? I didn't actually take a look.
It was mainly just all of my wiring, portable wiring and such, and gaskets is what I've got there so far. You got to have your files and tabs and dies and miscellaneous. And this one has ended up, I started putting all my kits in here, box kits, everywhere from tap and dies. And the only reason I bought it is because I needed large sizes. This goes all the way up into 1 inch, I believe it is. And it has metric as well as SE. What is that? Oh, that's thread tool for cleaning threads, etc. Then, Allen heads for different ones, and Torx. Same here. These are just short. And then you got to have more nuts and bolts than you can keep in. Then you got to have all the electronics today. Everything from your timing light to your, that one's for O2 sensors and such that we put on these cars so that we can balance them rather than the big old machines we used to have. Nice and easy, and it's a nice old machine that just goes on. Then you hook up your cabling with the right air sensor and set the car up so
this
I
is
can
to
bring
tune
it
it?
to tune it.
I see.
To
Okay.
bring to go from where you're burning that nice blue flame in your carburetors. And these cars all run twin carburetors, so you've got to balance front to rear, and then you got to make sure you got your jets adjusted right in order to keep a good clean burn.
I don't see timing lights very often anymore.
Yeah, it's because of computers. There are so many things. That's a Cornwell.
Okay.
It's really been a good tool over the years. No longer, or at the time of my cars, you can't plug a computer in to tell you what it is. I see a small tool that will make things easier for me, I buy it. Oh, that's injector cleaner and tester for doing Polaris or any injector.
What is that?
Then like that. That's for balancing the twin carburetors. You move it from carburetor to carburetor, and there's a little part that comes up with a vacuum, and you must make sure they're exact on both carburetors, or otherwise you're putting too much fuel in the rear carburetor or the front, depending on which way it goes. Injection or fuel pump tester for testing your fuel pump, see how much pressure you're putting out. This is a color tune used on these cars.
A color tune?
Yeah, it's what they call a color tune. You literally, instead of using a machine like this, you literally take this part, set it on this plug piece, it goes on there, and you screw this into the hole, and the electrode goes down through and connects to it, and it fires just like a spark plug. And you can see through this mirror, you can see down through the throat of the color and how it's burning. If it's really yellow and orange, you're running way too rich. You want to tone it down where you get that nice blue flame inside the cylinder. Back into the 70s again. But lots of the things you just have to have. Best test light they ever made, it's digital.
Oh, there you go.
You know exactly what the voltage is. It's, again, another meter. You can check all of your codes, everything on most cars, etc. I bought this for my motorhome to where I can check the codes on it. And then that's an old-fashioned amp probe you use with a multimeter. So you clip that over your line, it'll tell you how many amps your alternator is putting out, etc.
Man, that guy looks
It's
pretty
ancient. Oh, that one is literally out of the 80s.
Really?
On that one, yes. And it has been the best thing over time. It just keeps on plugging for all voltage. You can check AC, DC, ohms, etc., just like all the new ones. And it is digital. This is always the best though. That's an induction meter you can just put over your alternator wire or your battery cable, and it will read if it's a discharge or if it's charging your battery. Fast and quick. How often do you wonder if your alternator is working? Especially the old cars with generators, etc. You can clip that over and it'll read how many amps it's putting out.
What is this?
Oh, that's another balance meter, the same as this one.
Oh, okay.
You put it in the end of the carburetor and the needle will come up or down, and you just make sure you match. I moved to this little Craftsman I've had forever. Air tools, which are fast becoming extinct because of our battery powered tools. But there's so many things that is you can put tips in it and run screws in and out all day long. Saws, angle grills. Same thing with this one. You can put a grindstone on it and grind on the discs and all. Air tools are still needed. My air riveter, you can't beat that when you're doing a lot of riveting. Impacts and things I don't use as much anymore. Everywhere from rotor files to hole punchers, steel stamps. I stamp most of my blocks and things like that when I'm rebuilding a motor with my own little stamp in a different area than the standard number, just so that people know it was rebuilt and or I built it.
Do you do work for other people, I guess? Like, I mean, do you
I do some. I help club members, etc. all the time and whatnot, doing things. And that's just become my soldering drawer with all my soldering irons, etc. in there. And a vacuum tester. Not have a vacuum tester. And that is the mess. One of those I haven't got to yet. This box, I just moved it on up. But I mean, I've got all kinds of different, which will get moved down lower, snap ring pliers, etc. for all kinds of different snap rings and things like that. And rollers for different things that I'm working on. We never know what and when. Striping brushes.
What's a striping brush?
Yeah, you're putting a stripe on the side of a car or a motorhome. You can use that brush to work the bubbles out.
Really?
Rather than by hand. That's what they sold them for. That's all taps and dies for different sizes, etc. Small to large. Have a specialty tool. Oh, and then these are the handiest. Radiator fins and whatnot. You can straighten radiators, condensers with these tools. If you've touched it and you've bent it, you can take these tools across and fix the the radiators. And then, you've got to have every nylon tool they ever made for getting in and around. Most of these are for pulling today's new plastic snaps out, but you never know when. A nylon tool is handy to have all the way around all the time.
What is this guy?
Just stuff. Oh, that's a unique one. That's a good one you picked up. Adjusting valves on these cars. You put this tool on with a socket that goes around the nut, and then this goes into the screw, so you can turn the screw and at the same time, and then just tighten, so you're not, again, 50s. That was my dad's many years ago. And I use it still today every time I adjust the valves on any of my cars, because they're old school. They don't have hydraulic lifters. You don't see these often anymore. You're doing refrigeration work and you got copper and it's more rigid. You run the copper tube through it and you can bend the copper and then just slide this off.
Oh, so it doesn't kink it?
So it doesn't kink.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't kink. You're using hard copper and soft. They work handy. Then you get, I've got everything you can think of. You get things like carburetor brushes for cleaning out ports or anything else you're working out. Brushes for about any kind of those things. This is a fun one. This is my brake drawer. That's old school for compressing brake springs. You can turn the keeper with this. You just put it on and turn the keeper and it pops it off. Handy little tool when you're doing a lot of brake work. Such as when I was in the RV industry, I did a lot and changing brakes constantly. That tool was a handy one.
Yeah, what's that?
This is fun. Let me grab one here, just a second. This is just one of those things that people sit around all day long with nothing to do, and they come up with a clever way to put a spark plug in.
Oh, is that
You can push that down in and turn your plug. And that's all it's for. It won't tighten it, but you can get it in the hole and start it. How often have you been doing one and you can't get it to start?
Right.
This, you can do it without cross-threading it. Same thing again, that's a tool for putting on escutcheons that have the little marks on the old school type cars. Door handles. You used to could slide that in and pop it to where you can get the keyway out, or spring clip that it had.
What's this guy?
Oh, that was a little project we just did. We were putting bushings on front end of a car. And every time we would press them in, the bushing would pull back and crush. So we came up with this idea. You put the bushing in it, put it on and press it, and this is dead tight so the bushing didn't cut. It would go right into the shaft. Something similar to this. These just pop in, but you got a piece like this and you have to press the rubber bushing in it, and that's what we came up with. And I made that up on the lathe and on the mill.
That worked out?
Perfectly.
Awesome.
We went right through those things. We scrapped a couple and then we... Something else you like?
Sorry, yeah, what is this guy?
Oh, that's just a simple belt tool for putting belts on the razors and whatnot on Polaris. You can take and hook that over the clutch with the belt here and then raise it up and the belt will pop right in place for you. Oh, and then we get up to the top. These are all of my tuning tools and such that I haven't sorted out and put down in the lower side yet. Everywhere from feeler gauges to screwdrivers, screw starters. If you've ever seen a screw starter, you can put it on the end of a slotted screw. You turn that, put it on, pop it, and then it locks it to where you can get them on or Phillips in. That's what a lot of that stuff. And then other than that, just drill bits for boring bits and such. That little thing, what in the world?
What is that?
You take that and you can stick it on the fender, set your door gap or the gap you want in the fender, or say in the edge of the hood, whatever, and stick it on while you're working. You're not sitting there with a gauge.
Okay.
It'll stay in place while you're working. And then you just throw other things around. That's my Allen wrench set, metric and standards. And of course, anybody that touches anything with a battery in it, you got to have a meter in order to do a draw test. Then we get over here in this box. I've started setting it up with all kinds of supplies you need, shrink tubing, Allen wrenches, or keys, fender washers. This is going to be all of my supplies when I'm all done. And here again, this is a selection of different wiring terminals and all that I like to keep. And I like the heat shrink style to where you can shrink them down tight to your wire. This is a crimper for doing wiring ends and whatnot. It'll do any kind of wiring terminal you can come up with. It's got different size dies that we change out on the heads for doing anything you can think of. Now we're just getting into the junk that hasn't been sorted yet. Light bulbs, gauges, things like that that we always need around, and then 30 years worth of woodworking bits and tools and things of that nature.
It looks like you have a whole nother...
If you need a bolt, I buy it. I keep a good selection of coarse thread, fine thread bolts for all of my cars, because I replace all the bolts. I don't put used ones back in unless it's a last resort. I can go back through and just pick through what I need. Same scenario with all this stuff. This is lenses that you can't get anymore, or horn rings that I can refurbish and bring them back together for different cars.
I see a small cart here. That's nice too.
Oh yes, that's my roll around, so that I don't have to run so far to find parts or wrenches when I need them. I can pull that right over next to the project I'm working on, such as I was working on this today, putting a new fender on the other side. And I had it right over there with everything I needed. And I'll then see the same scenario. That's my wiring tote that I just grab and go. I can wire anything up. I generally take this one for travel when I'm out with the motorhome and whatnot, so that I can service any problem I have.
It's so nice in here. Is it? Nice air-conditioned shop. This is so sweet.
I tell you, and anybody that doesn't do it is out of their minds.
Yeah.
Many split systems, since they have come about and been on the market, that's what this is. It's a simple, small mini split system. I don't think my air conditioning bill out here is $100 a month.
Really?
It's that low. I've not tested it, because with all of the electric in this building, it's hard to tell exactly what that's using. I haven't calculated it out, but it is just fantastic. I mean, I could keep you going all day long. It's like my welding equipment, because I maintain everything, do all of it. Like I was saying, that head there, that one I'm be porting it out on all the intake valves in order to give it more power.
Okay.
That's one of my fun ones I enjoy doing. If I can get a little more power out of a motor, I do it, without getting into a problem of needing higher test fuels. And that's the problem when you get too much on your motor and you get it pumped up too much. Now you need high test fuels, such as race fuels. You can't buy at the pump. This is one of my recent motors I've built and put together for my TR250 out there. This is the original motor out of it, and I just build it and it'll sit here until it's needed.
Man, so are you able to, because I see a radiator, do you start it up here?
Yeah, when I get it all hooked up, I'm just assembling everything now. Has a full exhaust system, everything, and I can start it on this stand and run it. I build these motors and then sell them to people. And ship them around the country, all over the place. And so I test run all my motors before they ever leave the shop. All my motors are built like this. Everything is clean, done, spotless as they go together. I can even set a full transmission on the back of this one, such as this transmission. This is minus the overdrive, but I can bolt the transmission on, test the transmission in overdrive, know that it works before it ever goes in the car.
And I see a bunch of paint in here. It looks like
I paint, a little bit of everything, all of my parts, pieces, etc. I've painted cars in here. The blue one was actually, the tub was painted in this room on a rotisserie and such. So I'm always painting, always doing.
Is this like a vent system here?
Yes, that's a paint filter fan. That it's black because I've been painting black parts.
Oh, okay.
And the filters turn black on me, but that is for painting and doing all of my parts. We hang everything up, and this, it's a tool for another job, but
whoa,
this is all of my transmission for building transmissions. Each one of these boards is a full transmission and all the parts that go back into it. So I know exactly where they go. Some of them's gotten moved around on me, but I'll tear the transmission down completely, put it back together if I have to swap parts, whatever, to get the best parts in it, because we're running out of parts for these transmissions. You can see all the tore down ones and lower ones I've got down here that hopefully that's a this winter job, that I get all those built and sold. Get them back to somebody that can use them instead of just hauling them to the scrapyard.
Such a cool collection. And it's just...
This car is just going to be gorgeous. I mean, I've got the hubcaps in the trunk so they don't get tarnished or anything, but all of the windshield, stuff like that, it's all in the back, all brand new chrome.
Well, Richard, I hope one day I can be in your shoes, like wrenching on stuff that you love and just hanging out in your shop. I love this.
I say, you know, you build for that day when you can retire and just sit back and relax. There's no relaxing. We find projects and we stay busier than when we were working full time. It is crazy.
I love it. Well, before we close out, I do always like to ask one question, and it's, do you have any advice for guys that are, you know, kind of getting into the field of you know, mechanics, and they want to work with their hands? Do you have any advice for that? Because you were in the industry, in the RV industry. Is that an industry you feel like can serve people?
It's a huge growing industry. And with electronics more and more taking over, it's a vast field to where you need to know electric, you need to know plumbing, and the electronics within them are huge anymore. They're running diesel motors in them now. We're running gas motors. There are even in the production lines and design phase of electric RVs. Mechanical has always been a stable industry. And unfortunately, our school system let all that slide for many years. And now they're realizing their mistakes, and they're getting back and building the high school and college programs up more as far as working on these cars. It's like, well, you can see everything I got sitting in this room, and we all go through the same problem anymore. We don't know what the next generation is going to bring. Are we going to have mechanics that can work on them? Because most of these cars you take into the average shop today, they have no clue. They don't even know where to start. They'll just say, you got to find somebody else. Going through as many trades as I'm experienced in, as I said, you know, everywhere from mechanical to upholstery to plumbing, electrical, on down the line, I have done pretty much major in all of it. And those trades aren't there. They're not coming back fast enough. For years, and I was in the cabinet industry for over 25 years, and trying to hire people was ridiculous. We couldn't find people. I would train people to work, and it was still hard to find younger generation that wanted to learn and get into the industry. Such as right now, I just sold a car similar to this. It's a Triumph Spitfire. Sold it to a young lad out in Eagle Mountain, and I had just been shut on him parts and pieces. He wants to restore the car back to original, and many of us that have these cars and whatnot, we're pushing to help them. I just was digging through tools. I found an extra set of body tools. I called him today and told him, come pick it up. It's all yours.
Wow.
Just keep building and keep working.
Yeah.
Keep learning.
I love that.
We've got to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Richard, thank you so much for inviting me out and showing me
Anytime.
This is just so cool. It's not something you see every day.
You know, it's not many times you see an automotive and a wood shop combined.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, literally, I can make anything, and I didn't kind of show you the dashboards in these cars. I redo all of those and recondition them.
Really?
New veneer and whatnot.
Oh,
and with my woodworking experience, people love seeing them, and I just make them and ship them all over.
So cool. So cool. Well, thank you for taking the time out of your day, Richard.
Anytime.
I really do appreciate it. Oh, it's just so cool. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I rarely have ever seen a Triumph on the road. To see three of them in a shop is just, it's just so cool. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have a setup you'd like to have featured on the channel, you can hit me up on Instagram or just send me an email. Till the next one, we'll see you.